So hello everyone, welcome. Congratulations on your admission to USC, University of Southern California. I am Julie Leggett. I work in our graduate and engineering graduate recruitment and marketing office, and I'm the director of recruitment. I'm joined here with the chair of the Department of Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering, Professor Oni. I'm also here with your advisors for aerospace and mechanical engineering, Zoe, Alina, Lauren, and I have Afsana, who is a student, a current student that you'll be able to ask questions of later on. And I'm also joined by my colleague Paola, who's going to be helping with any questions that you might put in the Q&A. So we have a full staff here ready to answer your questions and hopefully just be a resource to you as much as possible. Let me start sharing my slides. So can everyone see the Welcome to Southern California slides? Okay, great. I have a quick presentation that's just going to introduce you a little bit more to the University of Southern California and, what you might be thinking right now as far as how do I make this decision of choosing which graduate school to attend. Hopefully with some of the information that we have here today that can help you in your decision making. And then I'll turn things over to the department so that they can give you a more in-depth overview of the department and what it's like to be a student in the department. Okay, so um, we are based in Southern California in Los Angeles, and so some of the things that you might be thinking about with regards to how do I make this decision are, what's the academic environment look like? What kinds of things can I get into? How can I engage? What resources are available? What research is there? What, entrepreneurial things can I take advantage of? And then support too, where do I turn to if I have any issues, if I run into trouble, are there resources available to help me to get to my academic goals and my career goals? So we'll go over some of that. Of course, we're going to brag about our location because Los Angeles is definitely a great place to be, not only to enjoy the sunshine, but also for career prospects as well. So definitely we'll talk about your career goals after you complete your graduate studies. And something else you might want to consider is the strength of the alumni. So these are all very connected. They're not separate things at all, and so we'll have lots of overlap when we talk about them. So first, we'll talk about our Viterbi School. We have a large alumni. We really call it the Trojan family because it's worldwide. Wherever you go, if you're wearing your USC cap, you'll hear a "fight on," and you say "fight on" back. It's very strong. Um, we have 183 million annual research expenditures, and why we're a big research university. And why that's important, even if you as a master's student are not, necessarily interested in getting involved in research, but research really drives a lot of what we do in the curriculum that you'll be introduced to, and the seminars that you'll be exposed to, and the jargon that you're going to be learning to be able to talk to, those industry connections and get that dream job that you want. So research expenditures is actually a really important thing for a university. If you pay attention to rankings or if you're interested in rankings, we are ranked 15th by the US News and World Report. And we have 199 tenure track faculty. I think it's a really great place if you want to be taught and in the classrooms with the most renowned faculty. Um, our engineering school was founded in 1905, so very established. The university was established in 1880, so 1905, quickly the engineering school was established as well. We have 32% female, which is just over the national average. And then we have applicants spanning from all over the world. So 113 countries were represented in this particular application cycle. And then 83% of our master's students are on-campus master's students and 17% are online. And I believe our aerospace and mechanical engineering department do have a fair number of online students. So you're definitely part of the community. There's no difference. You can take advantage of all the resources that we have available to on-campus students. And if you're in the area, please do stop by and attend a class in person, meet your faculty members, meet your current students. You'll have a lot of projects, class projects with on-campus students, and so you really are fully immersed into the on-campus culture. So a couple years ago, maybe 10 years ago by now, our dean coined this term called engineering plus, and it's really the concept that engineering is used to kind of enhance other industries, other fields. And so, using engineering to enhance the medical field or education even. And so we have this really exciting new initiative. It's a $1 billion initiative for our new School of Advanced Computing. And so this is going to be a school within our engineering school, and it's going to combine disciplines from our Lord Thomas Department of Computer Science as well as our Ming Sheh Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And so this is going to be taking concepts like blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, engineering with ethics, and it's going to be weaving them into every department within our engineering school, including aerospace and mechanical engineering. And then we're also expanding out to other curriculum within USC. So you might be taking a class in public policy and still, using maybe some machine learning concepts to inform your decision making. So it's a really exciting initiative, and it's just kind of enforces that idea that engineering plus, that engineering goes far beyond your typical engineering industries that you might think of. So location was one of the things that you might want to consider. So we are based in Los Angeles, California. We are a global hub for innovation, and this just kind of shows you what kinds of resources we have available around us. So many of you have heard of Silicon Valley. Silicon Beach is right here, and you can see we have facilities here. So ISI, our Institute for Science Information Science Information Sciences Institute. Thank you very much for the nods. And then we have ICT, and that is our Institute for Creative Technologies, I believe. So these are hubs that are very much immersed into this tech culture, right? So you can see a lot of the big name companies have satellite companies right here in the area. So we're very close proximity to all of this. And then as you can see in the pictures to the right, you have downtown LA, which is about a mile away from campus, 20 minutes away from the beach, 20 minutes away from the Hollywood Hills. So all very relative. And so these are big drivers when we talk to our current students. What were you thinking about when you decided to come to USC? A lot of them told us it's the location because all of these things around give you plenty of things to do, plenty of networking to engage in, and making these connections. Little known fact that Los Angeles hires more engineering students than any other city in the U.S. So if you want to be in a place where they're hiring, here's the place for to be. And then a little bit more about our location in Los Angeles. We have lots around our university. We have three museums, the Natural History Museum, the California African American Museum, um, the California Science Center, all right next door across the street. We have a beautiful rose garden. We have a shrine auditorium where lots of concerts happen. Of course, our Coliseum right across the street, too, where our football team plays and we cheer them on. So lots very, very close to campus. A short 50-cent bus ride away. We have LA Live, lots of eating places in downtown LA, the Walt Disney Concert Hall you might be interested in, lots of museums in Los Angeles. If you're a foodie, you might be interested in Chinatown, Little Tokyo, Olvera Street for some good Mexican food. And then I mentioned, 15 minutes, 15 miles, which kind of translates to more minutes, right? But there's the Santa Monica Pier, Venice Beach, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, Griffith Park Observatory. So definitely lots of things for you to check out and see, and definitely encourage that while you're here to make the most of your experience and go check these things out. Okay, so finding your dream career, we do not do job placement, but we help you and give you tons of resources that you're going to be fully equipped to land your dream job. So at USC, you have access to our Career Center for all USC students, but then in the engineering school, we have Viterbi Career Connections, which provides opportunities for specifically for engineering students. So there's lots of um, different resources that you can use. The Turby Career Gateway is one of those platforms that you can see. They list over 9,000 jobs for our students. So definitely plenty of jobs in there. We have Career Expo where employers do come to campus and they interview students and they give info sessions and we call them Trojan Talks. There's signature events where employers will come and do mock interviews and kind of give you advice on your resume. You can do internships for credit. We have advisors specifically for careers. They do a lot of like boot camps. They do just a lot of workshops that you feel fully prepared to know how to network in networking scenarios and in interview scenarios. So you'll be fully prepared to land that job that you want. And then there's our community. So student life is also a really big part of your decision of where you decide to go. Our engineering school is a pretty dominant presence on campus. There is plenty to get involved in here. Just a couple of things that happen. We have fireside chats. There's the Viterbi Startup Garage, where if you have an idea that you want um, to grow and maybe start your own business or start your own, tech company or things like that, there's definitely resources to help that grow. We have the Viterbi Graduate Student Association, which is the largest student organization on campus. And this is the group that is going to plan a lot of your events. They're going to be advocates for you when they have a direct line to the dean of our engineering school. And so, really press for things like um, having automatic doors or um, sanitary napkins in restrooms and things like that. So they really are advocates for the student body. And if you are interested in anything like that, I encourage you to get involved. But then at USC, we have this platform called Engage SC, which shows you all of the events on campus for engineering students and for if you're not an engineering student, these are events that are available to everyone on campus. So there's never a shortage of things to do, always events, always something going on. I mentioned outside of engineering, lots of campus activities. So there's mixers, graduate student government, that's kind of for all graduate students, not just engineering. Of course, there's tailgates and football games are going to be really popular. I think basketball for our women's team right now is really popular. Um, Startup and entrepreneurship resources, wellness events. We have a wellness director within the School of Engineering as well. So definitely these are things that you can engage in and to support you throughout your journey here. Safety is also very important to us. We have this DPS, our Department for Public Safety, that patrols 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but we are right here. And so our DPS, they have this zone that they patrol all the time to keep students safe. We also have a partnership with Lyft, so that students can ride free um, at night, so they can take advantage of that to travel anywhere safely. And we also have the USC Safety app that also can alert our DPS officers if a student needs any assistance. Housing's really important for our students, I know, in making your decisions about where you want to possibly live. So these are a couple of QR codes for housing that we have, graduate student housing within USC, and then some off-campus housing resources as well. And I'm sure that our students here, or student Sana here today, can give you some advice about, where a lot of the students live too. We mentioned downtown LA, Koreatown, West Adams, Mid-City, Culver City, Palm. So these are popular places for our students, and there are pros and cons. Which is like Culver City has great public transportation, Koreatown not so much. And so you really want to think, do I have a car? Am I able to get around, or do I have to take public transportation? So Afsana can probably help you with those conversations too. So the sooner you submit your statement of intent, if you're thinking that USC is a school that you do want to attend, the sooner you'll get access to some resources. So you'll be able to access pre-orientation resources. You'll be able to join things like our mentorship program, and they'll pair you up with a mentor so that you get, advice all throughout your time here at USC, connect you with your academic departments like this for their webinars, and you get to explore housing options. So you have to be a certified student to be able to enter the pool for our USC housing. So things like that are going to be available to you once you certify that you are attending. Um, Most of you will have an April 15th deadline to certify. Some of you might have different deadlines, so you'll want to check your USC YOUSC portal to make sure what your specific date is. Most of the programs are April 15th. And if you are an international student, you will want to submit your financial documents to Trojan International as soon as possible, because we can't start the I-20 process until you do that. Lastly, we have wonderful student ambassadors. I know Sana is one of our student ambassadors, and these are students that would love to connect with you, would love to answer questions that you might have about classes, about student life, about favorite places to study on campus, favorite places to eat in Los Angeles. Any question that you might have, please reach out to our student ambassadors and ask your questions. They, in this platform, you can filter by student major. So if you want to talk to a student in your specific major, you can filter for that. If you want to see if you can find someone from your hometown, you can filter that way. So definitely there's lots of students that would love to connect with you. And I think that's it for me. This is our email address. If you have any questions at all, we are happy to be available to answer those questions. And with that, I will turn things over to Professor Roni.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me all right? Okay, great. All right, I will share my screen. Into presentation mode. Okay. And let me get some things out of the way. Second here. Okay. So anyway, congratulations on your admission, and we hope to see you here in the fall. I'm Paul Ronnie. I'm the chair of Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering. I'll spend just a few minutes. I think I have 15 slides or so to tell a little bit about the department. Okay, but it's not advancing. There we go. Okay, first, just a little bit about myself. So I'm the chair of the department. I got my doctorate at MIT. You know how a lot of kids go through the stage where they like to make things burn or explode? Well, I never really grew out of that stage, and so now I get to make a career out of doing that. So my fields of research are combustion, energy, and in general chemically reacting flows. I've had experiments flown on 3 space shuttle missions. For the first two of those back in 1997, I was a backup crew member. I went through all the flight training. Didn't get a chance to fly in space. This behind me there, that was the mission that I would have been on. My experiment is right there, but um, but I didn't get a chance to fly myself. Um, so I'm a member of a number of professional organizations, and you can see, apart from liking to burn things, some of the things I like to do is I like the outdoors, and also recently, because of my daughter, I've gotten into horseback riding. The picture you see here, let me see if I can get a pointer going. There we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Now, how do I get rid of that? Uh, I want something else. All right, well, I guess I have to use that. In any case, this picture here, so this was actually during COVID when we had our, excuse me, our graduation ceremony was during the peak of COVID, so we couldn't have an on-campus ceremony. So I gave my little charge to the graduates on Foxy there. So a little bit about the department. We have 17 full professors, and of which I'm proud to say 16 of them are fellows, the highest honor of one of the major professional organizations in our field, AIAA for aerospace engineers, ASME for mechanical engineers, American Institute of American Association for the Advancement of Science, or the American Physical Society. We have 2 associate professors and 7 tenure track assistant professors. And I'm also proud to say that over half of them have received at least one of the early career awards from the National Science Foundation, Office of Naval Research, NASA, etc., that are highly sought after by junior faculty members. We also have a number of teaching track faculty that don't, most of them do not do research, they focus on teaching. We have 10 of them full-time, and a number, about 18 or so, part-time lecturers. And those are people generally who have full-time jobs elsewhere, usually in the local aerospace industry, and they teach typically just one class per academic year. But they're a very valuable asset to us because, for example, we have someone who's teaching our aerospace structures class who works for Boeing, and that's what he does for a living, is he does aerospace structures. And our student population, these numbers are always fluctuating a little bit. Right now, we have around 500 undergraduate and a similar number, a little bit less masters, and a little bit over 100 PhD students. So where do our students go? You can see from here that after the bachelor's degree, that you know, about half of them go on to employment. A third of them go on to graduate school at the master's level. Similarly, a lot of them are already employed and they're continuing that employment. Um, some have gone for PhD students. Um, and in terms of where our what are the top employers? You'll see, not surprisingly, Boeing and Northrop Grumman are 2 largest employers of bachelor's and master's students. Interestingly, Rivian, the electric truck manufacturer, was the 3rd largest for bachelor students. And then for the master's students, Jet Propulsion Lab and ASML, they make semiconductor manufacturing equipment, was the other uh, tied for 3rd biggest employer. Starting salaries, you can see, your parents will be glad to see this, that you'll be well compensated once you leave our employment. And I did compare this to like some of the other local schools, and we're actually doing pretty well in that regard compared to some of our peers. So just a few accomplishments. Recently, just in the past year, our junior faculty have won 3 of these early career awards, or 4 have won early career awards. 5, nope, I guess actually there's all 6 of them right there just in the past couple of years. A senior faculty member, Professor S.K. Gupta, has won some awards and been elected to fellow of one of the major professional organizations. Saad Oberoi also Firdaus Adwadia received a very prestigious award from the American Society of Civil Engineers. Bo Jin, who's a teaching track faculty member and has won a number of awards as well. And Vinay Goyal, who's one of these adjunct faculty members who works full time outside of USC, received the NASA Exceptional Service Medal. And in terms of our students, our SC racing team got to race around the LA Coliseum. That's maybe a little bit too loud there. Um, that that NASCAR, they actually built a racetrack inside of the Los Angeles Coliseum. And 2 days before their race, they had us race against UCLA's team for from the SA team. And I'd say that the two cars were about evenly matched. They actually had a couple of students, UCLA did, that a couple of students that were actually professional drivers. So they were actually doing better than us. But guess what? Their car broke down. So we won. Also, our aero design team, that's for the aerospace engineers, they have won the national championship 3 of the past 10 years. Now, master's students, may not spend as much time on these teams. The undergraduates, this is a tremendously uh, uh, time-consuming but very passionate activity amongst many of our undergraduate students. Master's students, I think, are depending, I don't recall which teams do allow, I think most of these teams do allow master's students. Some do not allow PhD students because of the sponsoring agency's rules. But in any case, you can also join some of these teams. Our undergraduate students have done very, very well in the student paper competitions, and one of our students, who's now a master's student, which is an undergraduate, now a master's student, was featured in a Disney documentary. Just compared to when I was at your stage, or even for quite a few years after that, there are a lot of things different now about aerospace and mechanical engineering than, let's say, when I was a student. Now we think about, how do we do anything? We're always involved with computer-aided design. We don't have drafting boards anymore. And now we have a lot of simulation tools. We don't do nearly as much testing, physical testing now. We do a lot of the testing virtually before we do the physical testing. And how do we build stuff? At least the prototypes. Typically, we build it with 3D printing, or what we call additive manufacturing, rather than starting off with a piece of material and then cutting out of it. We start with nothing and build up a piece of material that allows us to build shapes that we otherwise could not have possibly done with traditional subtractive manufacturing. Also, tremendous amount of activity in terms of sensors and actuators. Nowadays your car has literally hundreds, maybe even now thousands of sensors and actuators. Even I found out the other day that the air conditioning system, just to sense whether a diverter door that allows hot or cold air to go into the passenger compartment has like 2 or 3 different sensors and actuators to see if it actually moved or not. And of course, there's hundreds of these types of things throughout the car. Another thing that's different now is a lot of collaboration with other fields. It used to be that the different fields were rather siloed. Definitely not true anymore. That is, even on a car, I like to use that example. That is, we work with, of course, aerospace engineers for aerodynamics. We work with electrical engine and computer engineers for all kinds of things. We work with biomedical engineers for human factors, materials engineers for many aspects of the car. A lot of this collaboration that we didn't have previously. A few things in our department in particular are for strategic focus areas, robotics and autonomous systems. And this is not so different than you'll probably see at many other schools. Robotics and autonomous systems, energy and sustainability, design and manufacturing, medicine, bioengineering, particularly with emphasis, like many other universities that I'm sure you've applied to, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and also because of our local industry here, very focused on aerospace systems. We have some really spectacular facilities. We have one of the best. The Dryden Wind Tunnel is one of the 4 best low turbulence wind tunnels in the world. It's not a high-speed wind tunnel, but it has very, very quiescent air, so we can do a lot of experiments that you can't do in most other wind tunnels. We have our Center for Advanced Manufacturing, and we have an excellent blue water channel, again, a fluid mechanics type of experiment that complements what we can do in the wind tunnel. It's like the water channel is like it's a flowing water channel. So we can do similar sorts of things, but some with some differences in the wind tunnel as compared to the water channel. Information for students. We have, our dream team that you've already met of our student affairs staff, Lauren, Zoe, and Alina. I think you'll hear more from them about the requirements. So you're going to talk about that? Okay, so I'll skip over that. Just a few suggestions for you. This is true for any student in any level. First thing is come to lectures. Every faculty member is passionate about what they're teaching. And if you just come to class and see what they're teaching and what they emphasize, that'll really help you in terms of knowing what's going to be on the exam. We're not opaque. We're very transparent about what we think is important. I strongly advise you to study both independently and in groups. You really, trust me, as much as you think you know a subject, you really don't know it until you have to teach it to others. This sounds very trivial, but I just had in my senior level class, which some of you may take because you can take a certain number of 400 level masters, undergraduate, senior undergraduate 400 level classes. Um, and I found a lot of students just on the morning of the exam, they said, "Oh, can I have the solutions to homework number 4?" I said, "Well, why didn't you pick that up a week ago when I distributed them?" Um, you know, it's too late on the morning of the exam to read over it and figure out what you did correctly, what you did incorrectly, and help you study for the exam. Pick up your graded, read the textbook and the lecture notes. Um, and when studying for exams, do the posted sample exams. I and a lot of other faculty post a sample exam. Look over your homework and redo it without actually looking at the answers. Even though you said, well, it's easy to say, here, oh yeah, here's the solutions. Yeah, I understand that. I understand. It's another thing just to see the questions, but not the answers, and try to redo it. you know, I encourage you're encouraged to reach out to faculty members and become involved in research with a faculty member, especially if you're interested in going or potentially interested in going in for a PhD. Um, a lot of our PhD students are recruited from our master's population. This is an excellent opportunity for you to get to see what research is like to decide if that's something you want to do or not. Either way is fine. And it also helps the faculty member to see, okay, this student has a good aptitude for research or not. Again, either way is fine. And so I say, me personally, about half of my master's students have come out, my PhD students have come out of our master's program. And again, they may like a subject that I'm teaching, and they'll approach me and say, "Hey, could I work in your laboratory?" And if I think they're a good student, I'll give them a project to do. If it works out well, then I'll invite them to apply for the PhD. If it doesn't work out so well, or it's just not what they're interested in, fine, no harm, no foul. Also, go to faculty members' office hours. This is a university. The root word is universal. You'll never have this opportunity again to have so much access to so many experts in so many fields. Not just in engineering, but in any field. If you're interested in some 18th century French author, I'm sure there's somebody on campus who's an expert on that author. Find out who that is. Go to their office hours. Learn from them about that author. Get their perspective. You'll never have this access to so many experts for free. Well, not for free, but for no additional charge uh, to meet with all these people. And certainly, as was already mentioned, embrace the Southern California environment. Um, Here's my little sales pitch. Why USC? Why this department? We have a focus on quality and impact of the work that we do, not just, we're not just a paper mill. We have a small but growing department. I like to think as department chair that I have created a AME family within the Trojan family, and I try to promote that every time I can. You'll get a lot of intense interaction with faculty that you may not at some other universities. the student-led activities that I mentioned before. Mostly, I'm not going to say always, but mostly collegial colleagues, very proactive and innovative administration, the local industries that you've already heard about. And the secret weapon really is the Trojan family. I was a student at 4 different universities and on the faculty at another university before coming here. And of those 5 universities, none of them really had the sense of family and spirit that USC does. In fact, when I first came here and people were talking about this Trojan family thing, my first reaction was, okay, whatever. But I found there really was something to that. And it really felt like a comfortable, family to be involved with. So, you know, why this area? The weather? Maybe we have good weather. The culture? Yeah, maybe we have good weather. For me personally, and everyone's going to feel differently, but for me personally, the real advantage is the geography. We can go to the beach one day. USC owns a research center on Catalina Island. And it used to be, I'm not sure, I haven't checked lately, but it used to be on the boat that goes out once a week um, to take, people working on the island, that if there's space on the boat, you can pay a nominal fee and then just go out there for the day and come back in the evening when the boat brings people back. And you can use the kayaking and snorkeling gear while you're there. Great opportunity. We have the local mountains. We have the deserts. This is Death Valley. You probably heard a lot about Death Valley. Way in there in the background is where there was a lake because of the rain, which is, of course, unusual for Death Valley. This here is actually um, an abandoned mine. There's all kinds of interesting things out there in the desert. We have the canyon country of southern Utah. Recently, I went to a conference in Utah with a bunch of my students, and we drove out there because there were a lot of us rather than paying for flights for everybody. And then on the way back, we stopped and did this hike through one of the slot canyons in Utah. So anyway, to summarize, getting an advanced degree, it's a long, tough uphill climb, but we're going to help you get there. Think of us as being the ladder here that helps you get there. Anybody know, by the way, anybody know where this is? Nobody? Let's see. I don't see any answers coming out. Okay. This is Half Dome, Yosemite Valley. And that's it. I'll turn it over to our student affairs folks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Ronnie. It was wonderful to hear from you and learn a little bit more about the AME department and the graduate student experience. So as Julie mentioned at the top of the seminar, my name is Zoe, and I am one of the academic advisors here in the AME department. I work with master's students as well as our undergraduate students. I am joined today by the 2 other academic advisors in the department. I'll let them introduce themselves briefly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Terrazah. I'm one of the other advisors, and I also work with undergrads and master's students. Congratulations on your admissions, and we look forward to working with you.
Oh, that leaves me last. My name is Alina. I'm also one of the other advisors who has an undergraduate caseload, and I help masters as well. Congratulations and fight on.
Fantastic. So we are also joined today by 2 of our current master's students. I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a moment, but we are going to spend a few minutes now doing a little bit of a panel with our current students. So we've got some questions that I'll be posing to them. If you have questions for them or for us, you can also feel free to put those in the Q&A. We'll answer some of those questions in the Q&A while we're going, and also some live today. So let's dive right into our student panel. I would like for each of our students to introduce themselves, tell us your major and your hometown, and just briefly, why did you choose USC?
Hi everyone, I'm Upasna. This is my final semester here at USC as a Master's in Mechanical Engineering student. I'm from Hyderabad, which is a city in India. My reason for picking USC was everything that people mentioned before me, the location, the research at USC, the flexibility in the coursework, and great LA weather. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sumant, and I'm doing my major in aerospace engineering. Uh, I'm from Hyderabad as well. Uh, why I picked USC is because uh, I can answer this in very short. Like, I just wanted to know if it really offers what it says it offers, and yes, it does. So apart from academics, which is outstanding in every aspect in regards to the academics as well as the projects and researches that it does outside USC as well. Um, and also, it's one of the best locations for you to be in the United States. So yeah, that is why I chose USC.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So next question I want to ask is about classes. So that's what you're going to be spending a lot of your time on in the master's program. It's one of the most important components. So can you tell me a little bit about what your classes are like? How demanding is the coursework? Do you feel like it was different from coming out of undergrad into the master's program? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, so compared to undergrad, it's a lot less in terms of number of classes that you take. You're probably taking maybe like 3 to 5 classes every semester in undergrad. Here in grad school, it's normally 2 courses, three if you really want to take 3 courses. It's about 8 credits a semester, which is 2 4-credit courses each. It's pretty manageable. Uh, there's a lot of self study involved. I've realized in grad school, professors really want you to dig deeper into what they're teaching outside the classroom, actually pick up the textbook and learn more on your own. And on the assignments end of things, it depends on the course. Normally, assignment is handed over every 2 weeks, and then we normally have a project at the end of the semester.
Uh, Go ahead.
Yes. It depends, as Upasana said, it depends on the course that you prefer to take because it has vast number of courses the department has to offer. So if you want to go for aerodynamics, there are plenty of courses that you can do, and if you are a structures person like me, you have plenty options as well. With some courses are cross listed with other departments as well, like finite element analysis. Um, yeah, and the class size depends on completely on the preference of the students. So you can never know, like the same FEA class in fall might have too many people, and the same class in spring they might have too less number of people. It depends on how they plan the course in their course curriculum within the 2 years that they have to finish the required number of credits.
Great, thank you. So, on a similar note, can you tell us what has either been your favorite class so far while completing your degree, or if you can't choose a specific class, was there a specific project that you worked on in one of your classes that was a favorite for you?
Yeah, I was in a course called Automation for Manufacturing last semester, where because of the hands-on portion of the course, we had the opportunity to work on a project with an actual industry level robot at the Center for Advanced Manufacturing. We had 1 month where about 2 to 3 days a week we went into the lab and actually worked on programming the robotic interface and playing around with the actual robot. So that was a really fun course to take.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Uh, when it comes to me, I would rather pick 2 courses instead of one. One is the finite element analysis, where I had fun along with the theoretical part. I had a project during the semester, and it was really fun making uh, the project that I did, which is specifically which is close to the real life case scenarios. You have to do the simulations on real life parts and the machinery, or maybe it might be a plane or a device kind of thing. And the second one is that I took this semester, which is material science, and the project is really good, where I have to uh, redesign the product which was recalled due to some issue with the manufacturing defect or the material defect. So it's really fun playing with materials that you always switch in the software, and the properties obviously changes and all. So it's really fun course to do, and you learn a lot along with that.
Great. All right, so I see a couple questions coming in from folks about internship opportunities. So thinking about internships, thinking about careers, how do you feel like this program has helped you with your career goals?
It's definitely helped a lot, especially given that it's an advanced degree. Based on your interests, you can really tailor what courses you take at the university, depending on what your goals are in the future. Me specifically, I have an interest in computational fluid dynamics, so both my work in the lab and certain courses have really helped me develop a good skill set that is very industry relevant. In the courses, the professors actively talk about where certain concepts are applied in the industry, so you know that what you're learning is actually being used out there. So in that sense, you definitely build a good profile that would help in your career goals.
Yes, adding to that, as I already mentioned, it specifically depends on what courses you want to choose. If you, as Upasana said, she's a computational fluid dynamics person, so she'll take with the courses which are related to it. I'm a structures and materials person, so I'll obviously prefer material courses, and structural analysis courses prefer to the others. So yes, personally, yes, I have achieved the goal that I wanted to explore more and deep regarding these topics. And yes, I learned a lot during these 3 semesters of my time at USC.
Fantastic. And just to put a bit of an emphasis on something that both of our students have mentioned, our master's degrees most of our degrees in the AME department are extremely flexible. For instance, our Master's of Science in Aerospace Engineering and in Mechanical Engineering, those 2 degrees have one specific required class, and the rest of the classes you get to choose. So you could be pursuing the same degree as a one of your fellow students and be focusing in completely different areas, because you really get to choose the vast majority of your classes and really design the degree so that it fits you and your interests and your career goals. So that's something that can be really beneficial and can be a great advantage of our degree programs. So a few more questions for our current students. Are you involved in any clubs or organizations or research or internships? What are the things that you're doing or have been doing outside of classes during your degree?
Yeah, so during my first semester, I was part of the aero design team that Professor Ronnie mentioned earlier. It's a large number of undergraduate students, but they do have a few graduate students working there as well. And then my second semester, I got in touch with a professor that I was really interested in working with at their lab. So I've been working at the Fluid Structure Interactions Lab for the past 1 year, where I've been doing research on porous materials. So that has been really fun outside classes, actually working on some research. And other than that, I'm a graduate student ambassador where I speak to prospective students and discuss how USC might be a good fit for them, how student life is here. And yeah, that's pretty much my experience here at USC.
Yeah, that's plenty to be doing.
Yeah, once you come to USC, you never know how the time has passed by. That I can assure you. Apart from my classes and outside the class, in my first semester, I did research in Bojin's lab, as Dr. Rooney mentioned previously. So I worked for a uh, couple of months over there, and later I worked in aero design team for a couple of weeks, not too long. And after that. Uh, Actually, then my plate is full, so I just thought maybe for a while I will take a break and let me concentrate on my courses, which are really great. That's what I mentioned previously. So until now, I'm concentrating on the courses, and I'm a graduate student ambassador as well, where I get to talk to prospective students. And maybe next semester I only have one course left for my course requirement, so I might be going back to work in some lab, maybe uh, the manufacturing lab, if I really want to do something useful in my last semester.
Fantastic. All right. So, a topic that I think is on a lot of folks' minds for those who would potentially be attending on campus is, what was it like finding housing and roommates? Do you have any tips for where students may be at kind of starting to think about living near campus?
Yeah, it's definitely good to be proactive because like options run out pretty quickly, especially around campus. Most on-campus students live what is called the DPS zone, which Julie discussed. So there's a lot of student housing in that area, um, mostly off-campus housing. I think the on-campus housing for graduate students is pretty competitive, so a lot of students tend to live off campus. Resources that helped were mostly Facebook. You have to be careful, obviously, but there's a lot of listings there, and it's normally just students moving out and new students moving in, so it's pretty easy to find options for you to live.
Yes, adding to that, in my first semester, I stayed on campus, but it's really competitive. You have to apply as early as possible to get a spot for yourself. And if not, there are pretty good options in the off-campus housing as well, which are, I wouldn't say as close as them, but it's a little far, like maybe 10-minute walk to the campus. So it's pretty much in the DPS zone, and I don't think it's that far for a 10-minute walk. So there are plenty of off-campus housing options available as well. But as Upasana mentioned, you have to be proactive if you have to reserve a spot for yourself. But the housing is really good. You can find a good house within your budget and your requirement.
Great, great. All right. So we're going to have a couple minutes left for questions at the end. So I want to encourage folks to go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get to some of those. But I just want to ask one more specific question of our panelists, which is briefly, what advice would you give to future Viterbi students?
I definitely, this helped me a lot mapping out what courses I wanted to take at USC. I had a semester by semester plan for myself because there are a few courses which require prerequisites. Some are offered in the fall, some are offered in the spring. So having that plan really helps you navigate your time here at USC. And other than that, I would definitely say, like, be active in class. Professors really like it when students are asking questions. They love sharing the information that they have. And also, if you can get involved in research, definitely do that. It gives you a completely different perspective outside the classroom, so it really adds to your graduate experience.
If I could add something, just a little thing to what Pasana said, that yeah, it's very important to plan out your courses, because it's great that we have a relatively small department. We're a boutique operation, but that means that a lot of classes are only offered one semester and not the other. So it's really important that you see where it is. You can look at the schedule from previous years to see when it is offered. So please do that.
Thank you, Dr. Rooney. Uh, this is exactly the main point. Like, you have to plan out your courses, because, as I told you, there are vast number of courses that you can do, but I think you can only do like 7 or 8 courses out of your 2-year program. Um, and also, be as energetic as possible. Try to involve in research, or go to classes, do your homework, do projects which are a part of your course. And if still you do have time, try to you can do projects with the professor's guidance as well. So it all depends on how interested you are and what you can get out of your 2 years master's program. It all depends on your enthusiasm and your interest in the course. USC can offer a lot. You can go to the football games, you can go to a lot of on-campus activities. Social life is pretty good at USC. And also it's really, as I told you, you have to plan out everything and you have to make the most out of it. That is what I can exactly suggest you if you want. uh, uh, that's what I want you to tell before coming to USC.
Fantastic. All right, so I know we are reaching the end of our time, and we have a few questions in the chat. So I want to grab a couple of those if we can. I know we've seen a couple questions come in about some specific areas of research, and I wonder, Dr. Rani, if you could address this one. How a student asked, how focused is Viterbi on robotics and dynamics control? In your opinion, what are some of the more interesting projects being worked on? I know we have some interesting things going on in our department in that area.
Yeah, so there's robotics going on in many different departments, and a lot of our faculty who are involved in robotics research collaborate with faculty in electrical engineering and computer science. One of the most interesting, one of the most visually appealing, of course, is Quan Nguyen and his jumping robots. Who doesn't like to see jumping robots? Um, and so also in the Center for Advanced Manufacturing, S.K. Gupta is working on for example, robotic cleaning of surfaces, things maybe in hazardous environments where you don't want to send people, things like that. So we have a number of those kind of things going on. But keep in mind that and we have these discussions all the time, robotics, means different things to different departments. And so you can expect that if you're going to be involved in robotics, it's not going to be discipline specific. It's going to be in collaboration with faculty and other departments. And we offer a number of robotics courses. We just had a discussion this morning about how to collaborate on our courses in that area. So it's very interdisciplinary.
Fantastic, thank you. And I am just going to throw a link in the chat right now, which is a link to the Amy Department Research webpage, which gives kind of a breakdown of the kind of high-level groupings of our research that our faculty is doing. Robotics is one of them, but there's a really wide variety. And if you're interested in any of these different areas of research, I would really encourage you to take a look at that. You can kind of drill down and look at specific faculty and specific labs and learn about those interdisciplinary connections and the different types of projects they're looking at. It'd be a great way to kind of get to know the focuses of our faculty and maybe start thinking about if there are particular labs that you may want to get involved in once you start at USC. I think we have maybe time for one more question if we can squeeze a few more minutes out here. We have had a couple questions come in about workspaces, machine shops, labs, design labs for that students can take advantage of. And I think either our student panelists or if Dr. Rani wants to chime in about what types of resources are there on campus that students have access to in those kinds of realms.
Maybe the students I can address that, but it would be more compelling coming from the students.
Yeah, so based on my experience and my friends' experience, for you to utilize the like machine shop equipment or any like 3D printers or stuff like that, you need to be either a part of a club. So we have the 3D printing club, which is very active, or you have to be a part of a lab to utilize that equipment. So you would essentially be part of either of these communities and have access. So if it's a student-run club, you're normally working on projects that you might be interested in, starting something up on your own. So you have that equipment at your disposal. Or if you're part of a research lab, based on what research you have, what you're doing, you have access to that equipment as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, did you want to add as well, Simon?
No, that's pretty much it. Like she answered most of the part.
All right, fantastic. So I think that puts us right about at time. So I want to say on behalf of the AME department, we are so excited to see you all here today, and we hope to have you join our community here in these next few months. Thank you for spending some time with us today. I'll turn it over to my admissions colleagues to close us out here.
Thanks, Zoe. Yeah, and again, just thank you to the Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering Department. This has been such a fun webinar, and I hope all of you attending are excited and feel a little bit more confident about your decision, whatever that may be. We hope that you decide USC and that we'll see you in the fall. Be sitting next to you at the football games and be cheering along with you while we cheer on our team and our band, and just getting involved in all this, that is USC and Viterbi, and that you can be part of this Trojan family. We would love to have you here. If you have questions, from now until the time when you have to make your decision, we're happy to answer your questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, have a good night or wherever you may be. Have a great day, and fight on.
Who did that?
All righty.